Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another reading log for the month of January today of 2022. This is the first reading log of the year. However, I think I'm going to call them wrap-ups now because I'm going to talk about the comic books I read, the manga I read, the books I read, and I also maybe want to talk a little bit about television. So I've been getting into television quite a bit more than usual. I think there's just been a lot of good TV shows lately, and so I do want to talk about them as well. And generally just talk about stuff that I've been doing that isn't necessarily just reading, right? So, let's begin. Let's talk about the TV shows first. So this month I watched Wheel of Time, which was okay. I just finished my video about it. Basically, I feel that it's disappointing at the end of the day. It started off really strong. I think it did really good stuff there. But I feel like going straight to Tar Valon and skipping all of Camelin created issues with what they decided to put in place there, right? They decided to focus on Stepan and Karine, these two characters that I'd never seen, never heard of before, that maybe are part of the series in the books, but aren't part of the first three books. And so it feels really odd to focus on them and kind of have this like development of their relationship and the way that, you know, the warder Aes Sedai thing works. And I just feel like they wasted a lot of time on them that could have been done elsewhere. I also really don't like the end of the story of the series, the last two episodes, because they feel like very final. And they also were structured in such a way that the main character, because at this point everyone knows Rand is the dragon, right? That the main character, the dragon reborn, the one that is going to shape the world, does the thing that he has to do, save the world from this one guy for this one season, and it feels like an afternote. It doesn't feel like the main thing. Now, you know, there's a lot of people that say that it's because they're trying to be woke. I don't really think so. I don't think it's about wokeness, because, you know, the story itself is about balance between men and women. It's about, understanding the differences and the similarities and just trying to do the best that we can together, right? That's what the series is about. So I don't think that it's a woke nonsense kind of thing. I don't really ascribe to that idea in general, and two, I don't think that that's the case. I just think that they were trying to focus on different characters than the books did, and in doing so, they really kind of buried their lead character under all of this other stuff. I also really don't like that they basically killed the stakes with the show because of this the situation that happens with these Aes Sedai ladies that aren't Aes Sedai, where they seem to somehow just manage to do what, you know, a bunch of soldiers couldn't do immediately, and then it kind of makes the thing be like, well, why didn't they do that first, right? I talked about it more in my video about it, but there you go. That's kind of the overview of my feelings there. Definitely check out the video. It's right up there or right up there. I can't remember what side the video comes out on, but it's somewhere on there. And so that's the first show that I watched. The second show that I watched was Hawkeye. I started watching Hawkeye. I really liked Hawkeye. I think it's by far probably the best MCU show so far. A lot of people love WandaVision, and I didn't really get WandaVision. I think it's like I didn't get the artistic style behind it, and so I don't really understand the message of it. I think it was good at the end. Like the story eventually did make sense to me. But I don't feel that it was really all that good because the mystery of it really didn't feel mysterious. It just felt like they were doing this specific art style to emulate these comedy sitcoms. And what happened was that, you know, they dragged that on too much. However, Hawkeye, I think, is really good. It focuses on this guy trying to get back to his family and having to deal with this young character that wants to be a superhero, Kate Bishop. I think it really just plucked out a storyline from the comics, which I think is really good. And I think that they did a really good job there. I really like this kind of idea of old man Hawkeye and this young new girl that wants to take his place, or that is being set up to take his place. I also really like the idea of like this family oriented thing. I like that they brought in Kingpin. There's a lot of good stuff with Hawkeye, so I really like the show. Overall, I definitely feel that it's the best one so far. It didn't really have any of that over the top, like straight up, hey, this is the politics of the real world, and here's what we're trying to show you without it being, like hidden or anything, like the Winter Soldier show had. And it didn't really have these weird like connections between characters that, if you think about it for a second, are kind of odd. Like in Loki, I think that the Hawkeye show was definitely the best one so far. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Moon Knight. I think that's going to be really cool. And the last major show that I've been watching has been Book of Boba Fett. Now, the Book of Boba Fett I think is really, really good. I'm really enjoying it because I think that the direction they took the character in makes a lot of sense. Tamura Morrison, or Temamura, I can't remember how to say his name, but the guy that plays Jango Fett and all the clones and in the movies is an old guy now. He can't really do all of these crazy action stunt things that they want, that Boba Fett would do if this was the Boba Fett show that everyone thought they wanted, right? However, I think that it makes sense that he is going the way he is, right? People saying, he's way too compassionate, he's way too naive, he's way too good of a person for Boba Fett, right? Based on the 2 or 3 lines that he had in the original trilogy, he should have been this crazy, merciless bastard guy. And I think that he can be at that point. I mean, we saw it in The Mandalorian, the season 2 episode where he came out. We definitely saw him be merciless, right? So he can be that. But at the end of the day, Boba Fett needs to be a complex character if you're going to have him be someone that can lead a show and that can be an interesting character, right? I mean, Boba Fett didn't really have to have any meaningful character arc in the movies because he was only there for like a scene or two, right? However, if they're going to make a TV show about him, he needs to have depth of character. And it makes sense that they would go the way they do because from the very beginning, when we saw Boba Fett as a kid, right? He was deeply affected by the death of his father, right? So it makes sense that he wants family. And it's like the time is right now because he's old and he has gone through this revelation by living with the Tuskens. So I think it makes perfect sense for Boba to be the way he is now. I just think people wanted like young Boba Fett in his prime, and that's not really the story that you're getting. And in fact, it doesn't really matter that it's not the story that you're getting because The Mandalorian is everything people wanted Boba Fett to be. So you have both old man Boba Fett and like young man Boba Fett in Din Djarin. So I don't see why people complain. I think it makes no sense. And historically, Filoni and Favreau and everyone that works on Star Wars has actually made Boba Fett a more deep character, because in the Clone Wars, there's a moment where Boba Fett can kill Mace Windu, the whole thing that he's been wanting to do his whole life, and he doesn't take the shot because he doesn't want to kill someone. So it makes sense that, this wouldn't really, Boba Fett would want to be nicer if it benefits him. So it makes sense. I don't really see why people are so up in a tizzy about it. It makes no sense. It's really annoying because it's just so negative and it doesn't really help anything because there's no lore breaking. There's no problems with what they're doing with Boba Fett. People just wanted like some crazy action hero, and we didn't get that because that's not the role that Boba Fett should be playing right now. In his age and in the way that the story is structured around the Mandalorian, not Boba Fett, it makes sense that they would have to have this older Mandalorian character that Din Djarin can kind of find a place with. So it makes sense. I don't think that it's a bad thing. However, I do feel that there have been some issues with the TV show, and I can't disagree with that. Some of it just doesn't feel correct, and I'll talk about the whole show in a different video, but that's generally my idea there. However, episode 5 was amazing. It was the return of the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian shows up, and he does awesome things. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so weird that the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett book, the book of Boba Fett was so good only when Boba Fett wasn't there." It's like, no, it's been good. You guys are just like mad over nothing. I don't know. Whatever. I'll just stop there. I'll talk about it in a separate video just for Book of Boba Fett once it finishes in about 2 weeks. And so that's it for TV. If you guys aren't interested in that, I'm sorry. You guys could skip over to the next section, I guess. I should have probably said this at the beginning, but Anyway, let's start talking about comic books. If you don't want to see anything about comic books, feel free to skip all the way to the manga section, which will be down here somewhere. The chapters kind of function can help you with that. So, let's look at all the comic books that I've been reading this month. So let's start with Darkhawk. issue 5. This is the last one in the series, and sadly, I think this 5-issue series was kind of disappointing. There wasn't anything about it that made me particularly happy to have read it, other than the fact that it's by Kyle Higgins, and I wanted to see what he does. I mean, Kyle Higgins is a huge fan of tokusatsu stuff, and Darkhawk is basically a tokusatsu hero, so it makes sense that you want to do this, but I didn't really feel that he did anything all that meaningful with the character. Not that I know anything about the character, but I just felt like they basically made a Glee like style drama story with like elements of a CW superhero show, and I feel that that doesn't really go that well. I don't really like that. I mean, I don't mind it because I'm still like young enough to be like, oh yeah, that's okay. I'm still young enough to enjoy CW TV shows at 22, right? But I didn't really feel that it was all that good. I didn't really think that it was all that great. It really felt a little bit disappointing. So that's it for that one. I don't really think anything else about it. Thank God it's over. And I'll probably keep it, but who knows what's going to happen with that later. Then we have Titans United 4 and 5. These are really good. I really like this. It's a story basically about like a more expanded roster of Teen Titans heroes who happen to be fighting against people that have their own superpowers because Starfire's sister happens to have decided to invade Earth, and it's actually really, really good. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool. They kind of use it as a way to talk about the Titans TV show on HBO Max. I haven't seen that show. So I don't know if it's any good, but I think it's an interesting way to market it. But that story seems to be separate from it, and it's actually really, really good. I like it a lot. I think it's really nicely done. So yeah, then Sweet Paprika 6. Really good stuff here. This is kind of like a soap opera type story. However, it is very adult. It's very mature. It's basically you follow this like hyper successful demon lady who happens to have issues with intimacy because she basically has childhood trauma about that her dad kind of caused her by trying to be very conservative about like sexuality and stuff like that. And she's trying to overcome this, and she's trying to develop a romantic relationship with someone, and she's interacting with this angel type character whose name is Dale, and her name's Paprika, and it's basically a rom-com story. Has a lot of sexual content in it, and it's actually very, very interesting. I like it quite a bit, and I think it's a great story by Mirka Andolfo. I can't wait to see how it ends. It's currently halfway through so far, but I'm curious to see where it goes. So yeah, Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika is really, really good. Then we have Moon Knight. Let's see, 6 and 7. Moon Knight is an interesting story. I haven't really checked out the character before, but I knew that it was coming on Disney Plus, and the series started serializing last year, so I picked it up, and I like it. It's cool. It's interesting. Really, we're focusing mostly on Mark Spector's kind of mental situation and the introduction of other Moon Knight-esque characters who happen to be other, priests of Khonshu and are against the way that he's handling things. So I think it's really good. It's a very kind of like internal issue that I really like how it's being handled. So there we go. That's that for that one. Here's Sheena issue 2. Really good. Actually, I really like it. I think it's very interesting. So I picked this up because I like the covers and because I like the Jungle Girl trope. But I didn't know anything about Sheena at all. I mean, I know that there's a movie from 1984, but I didn't watch it. I don't know anything about Sheena. I just like the covers, and I thought that, the trope is cool, so let me check it out. And I'm actually really enjoying the story. It does have this kind of interesting conservative, what's it called, like conservationist lean, not conservative, but conservationist, like people that want to care about the environment, lean to it. But it also makes sense. It's a very action-oriented series with this kind of Jungle Girl trope, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, really good. I'm really looking forward to collecting more of it. But yeah, then we have Gun Honey. This is the last issue. This is issue 4, and it's a really good story. It's very interesting. I definitely think that there's more to it, but this is like a femme fatale kind of character. She's really interesting. She has this very James Bond-esque vibe to her, but she's also like a very interesting and has like a lot of depth to her, which I think is really cool. She basically has to. She's this woman who happens to be really good at, bringing in guns to places where guns shouldn't be, and so she gets hired by a lot of people, and now she has to work for the government because they need her to do something for them, and then this kind of unravels this family history that she has that she had forgotten about, and it's actually really, really good. I liked it a lot. I really liked the ending, and I can't wait to see more of her later on. Here's Batgirls issue 1. I got this because I thought the cover looked cool. I actually like the story quite a bit, but I don't think the art style is for me. So I don't know if I'm gonna collect this in singles. I might wait for the trade paperback and get it then, because I do like the story so far. I just don't really think that I want to have to spend $4 every time to read it. So I'm probably just gonna wait until we get the other thing, the trade paperback, and get it that way. So yeah, Silk, kind of similar feeling. I liked Silk. I thought it was interesting. The art style is not my favorite, but I don't hate it. But I do want to check her out because I think there's some interesting stuff going on with her, and I can't wait to see how she interacts with Peter Parker and Ben Reilly and stuff like that. Since this is like the year they're celebrating the 60 years of Spider-Man, and so I'm curious to see if she's gonna do any crossover events with them, and I'm curious to see how she's gonna do it. And yeah, I think she's an interesting character. So there we go. Devil's Reign 2 out of 6. Liked it so far. I think it's cool, pretty interesting. Basically, it's a political story about Wilson Fisk having taken over New York through nefarious means, and now the heroes are kind of on the outs, and they're basically the bad guys in terms of the eyes of the public, and now they have to fight him politically with a candidate, but also on the streets as superheroes. So I think it's a really cool kind of way of combining that there. So yeah, Dark Knights of Steel 3, really good stuff. I'm really loving this series. I think Tom Taylor's doing a great job. I'm going to have a full review for it sometime either this weekend or the weekend after that. I really haven't recorded it. I just haven't been able to upload it. And I don't want to upload it during the week of February, like the weekdays of February, because those are supposed to be like, what's it called? Like the thematic days for the YouTube channel. So February is going to be like rom-com month or something like that. And usually when I do a theme like that, I only do non-thematic videos on Saturday and Sunday if I have that many. So I have to wait until that day to do the review for that. So yeah, same thing with Dark Ages Volume 4, or Issue 4. This is also by Tom Taylor. This is really good stuff. Dark Knights of Steel is DC, and this one is Marvel, and both of them are really, really good. Devil's Reign 3, again, I already explained it. This is really kind of shaping up to be interesting. There's a lot of spin-off issues that are coming out of this, and I was going to collect all of them, but then I decided not to because I did that with Death of Doctor Strange. I don't feel like I really needed to, because a lot of the Death of Doctor Strange tie-ins are really unnecessary. They provide more context, more world building, but they don't really do anything for the story. So I'm not going to get any of the Devil's Reign ones unless they're already part of series that I'm already collecting. So yeah, but it's good stuff. I like it. Here's Sheena 3. Again, I already talked about it, but the covers are great. So I love that a lot. Here's some Spawn stuff. So I got Scorched. This is issue 1. It's really good. I really like the cover, and I also really like what the story is about. It basically is like a Spawn superhero team, a Spawn Avengers or something like that. And it's really cool. There seems to be some kind of internal conflict between all the Spawn that are working together, and I think that it's going to be really cool, and really excited to see where it goes. So yeah. Here's Gunslinger Spawn, which is kind of telling us the origin story of Gunslinger Spawn in the sense of like, he's in Scorched. Why is he in Scorched? How did he get there? And this is what Gunslinger Spawn is kind of focusing on as far as I understand it. And it's doing a really good job, so I like that quite a bit. Then more King Spawn, which is really good as well. I don't know. I don't understand the difference between regular Spawn and King Spawn. Like, it's the same character, but the stories are slightly different. But I don't know how, the regular Spawn story is happening concurrently with this King Spawn storyline. So I'm curious to see how that works. But I don't follow the regular Spawn title because the storyline that it's on right now is like almost done. So I'm just waiting for the next storyline to start before I can collect it. So that's it for the comic books. That's all I read comic book wise. I also read Batman the Scott Snyder run, Volume 2, and Go-Go Power Rangers Volume 1. But I think I talked about those in my mid-month check-in or something like that. So if you guys want to check that out, go and check that video out. It should be the January check-in video. But yeah, so I'm not going to pull them out because they're really far away, so I'm just not going to do it. But yeah, let's talk about manga and light novels now. So let's start with all of the manga that I read. So these are in chronological order-ish, kind of, more or less. So, okay, first thing I read was City Hunter, Volume 1. Really good stuff. I already did a first impressions review on it. And City Hunter is really, really cool. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really nice. Definitely want to collect more of it. And I'm really excited to see where the story goes. Thankfully, this is relatively easy for me to get because it's in Spanish. And I can just order them and get them sent to my grandma's house and just get it, whenever I go visit her, which is usually in July and in December. But it's going to be a while since I can get more, until I can get more. So for now, this is the only volume that I'm going to have of the series. But I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. Here's Mashle Volume 4. Really good stuff. Mashle continues to be such a fun thing. It's basically One Punch Man in a Hogwarts setting. And I like that a lot. I think it's really good. I really enjoy it. I love the storyline. And I like the way that the art kind of goes from really basic and kind of comedic to really insanely powerful and very badass looking like that. So really good stuff. I love the author. I think he's doing a great job. And I really love all of the little author's notes that he gives us throughout the volume, because it really adds this kind of interesting relationship to the book, where the mangaka is just so happy that people are reading his story, and he really just wants to express that, and I love that a lot. I think it's really, really good. And then we got Eden Zero Volume 14. Really good stuff. I'm loving Eden Zero. I think it's so good. Mashima really has gone above and beyond with the series. And this one starts, or continues the start of a new arc. We finally get to see Elsie, doing some stuff, and we get to see this new guy called Poseidon Nero show up, who happens to be a pretty relevant bad guy as far as I understand it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this and enjoying the rest of the story after this, right? I already read this. I really liked it. Thought it was really, really good stuff. So yeah, there you go. Then I read Record of Ragnarok. I already did a first impressions review on this, and everyone has talked about it already. But basically, humans and gods are having to fight against each other in order to decide the fate of humanity, and it's looking like, it's going to be a tough battle. This first volume and the first half of the second volume deal with Lubu versus Thor, a Chinese hero versus a Norse god, and the second volume is Zeus versus Adam, if I remember correctly, and that continues on for another volume after that. So there we go. Record of Ragnarok is great. If you like fighting series, you'll probably like this, so check it out for sure. Okay, then I read Fairy Tail Zero. Really good stuff. I love Fairy Tail. Mashima really gets you with those emotional gut punches here, where he just tells you the story of Mavis Vermilion, who happens to be the founder of Fairy Tail, and just hits you with some emotional gut punches when it comes to her story and how lonely she was as a child. And man, it really, really sucks, but man, it's so, so good as well. So I love Fairy Tail a lot, so I love anything that has to do with it. Then I read Kingdom Volume 1. This is in Spanish. It's from Ivrea, which is from Spain. And it's a really interesting story. I didn't really jive with any of the characters specifically. There wasn't one character that was yeah, man, I really want to see his life, unfold before my eyes. But I think that the story itself is really interesting. It really has similar vibes to, The Last Kingdom or Vikings, of this child and this person that had just been pulled towards greatness, called for greatness. And we just have to see the story of them unfold and see how they shape the world, which I really, really like. I think it's really, really cool. So Kingdom is really cool. I liked it a lot. The next volume releases in a couple of weeks, so I can't wait to pick it up. And yeah, there you go. That's Kingdom right there. Then I read Inuyashiki. This is the only volume that I read this month that I didn't do a video for, or one of the only volumes. And the reason is that I don't feel that there was enough here for me to have a first impressions on that would actually make a substantial video. I would have just told you the name of the series, who wrote it, how it's connected to Gantz, and then just been yeah, it's cool, and that's basically it. Because it's a really good series, But man, nothing happens in it. Like, there's no dialogue, there's no development of anything. It's just this old guy who happens to have a really shitty life. His family doesn't love him and doesn't care about him. And then suddenly he becomes a robot. And then he just decides that he's going to try to help people. And there's this other guy that's a robot too. And we don't know if he's a villain or a hero. So that's basically all there is to it. And I'm really excited to get more into this. I think I'm going to try to buy all of them before May so that I can have another... another sci-fi month in May where I talk about Inuyashiki. So there you go. That's it for that one. Nothing much to see there. I mean, honestly, there's a lot that happens, but there's no dialogue in the series, right? Because Hiroyoku's a no dialogue kind of guy. So it's just really tough to talk about it because it's like nothing happens. I can't talk about any characterization because all of it is visually told. So it's very interesting. Then I got Sunken Rock Volume 1. This is actually Volumes 1 and 2. This is the Spanish edition from Ivrea, again from Spain. And I really, really like this. I think Boichi does great work. I'm really excited to finally be able to get, Boichi's magnum opus, basically. And I really liked it. I did a first impressions review on it. And it's really good stuff. It's actually very, very, adult, though. So, I don't know. If you're not really an adult, probably don't check this out. So, yeah. Then I read Lupin the Third Greatest Heists. Really good stuff. I liked it. I really enjoyed it because I think it succeeded very well in its in its goal, which is to get new readers interested in Lupin the Third, and it did that beautifully. Sometimes some of these classic collection editions don't feel that satisfying to read because they're either disjointed from themselves, from the story, or because they don't really achieve what they're supposed to do. Like, Space Battleship Yamato is great for itself, but the story ends halfway. It sucks. It's so annoying when that happens. And Himiso Ranger is basically 3 different storylines all put together in a book, and that's just how it was released. But it is really unsatisfying to read because it's like there's no conclusion to anything. However, if you go in with the mindset that, hey, this is already a short story collection, which this is, it makes sense and it stops you from feeling unsatisfied. I also think that the selection of the short stories was done in a really great way because it shows you all the characters, it shows you the type of person Lupin is, and it also allows you to meet some of the secondary characters that might appear elsewhere. So I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. So there you go. Lupin the Third was good. Dorohedoro, Volume 1. This is the Spanish edition from Mexico, and I got this because they have this really interesting scale pattern on it, which I like a lot. Really interesting. It's very unclear. There's a lot of different rules to this world as far as I understand it, and they don't make sense to me because the style in which they're told is kind of chaotic, and I didn't dislike this. I just don't feel that I'm really sure about what the story is about yet, so I can't have a concrete opinion on it, but I did do a first impressions on the book, so if you guys want to watch that, feel free to do so. But yeah, Dorohedoro is really interesting. Then I read some Drifting Dragons. I got 6, 7, and 8, and man, Drifting Dragons is great. It's so good. It does everything Delicious in Dungeon did, but better. It focuses on just dragons as creatures, and it focuses on the lore of dragons, the way people interact with dragons, and just the way that food is an important aspect to everyone and everything in the world. And I really loved it. I thought it was really, really good. I like this series so much. Drifting Dragons is amazing. Okay, let's see. I'm kind of getting tired here, but I'm almost done, so it's okay. Then we did Notorious Talker, Volume 1. I already recorded a review for this. I think I already uploaded it as well. But Notorious Talker is basically this kid wants to be a seeker, which is a type of dungeon buster, monster hunter. And he's not actually an attack class hunter or a seeker, so he can't actually be the most powerful directly. So he has to find a way to indirectly be the most powerful seeker because that's his dream. And so he has decided that the best way to do it is to develop a clan, which is a conglomerate of seekers, and be the guy in charge. So it's a really cool kind of story. It really only focuses on our main character and the first person that joins his team that will eventually be his clan, which is this female character here called Alma. And it's good. I liked it. I thought it was really, really well done. Really enjoyed the situation there quite a bit. Then Space Mercenary 2, basically a haremlet in the Western style, but from Japan. And it definitely has a lot of Fade to Black scenes. and it's mostly really good and enjoyable because it's a space series, and just about everything that we get here is always fantasy. So I liked it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's good. And there's not much else to say about this. I already recorded a video for this as well, and it's going to be up sometime in February, in one of the weekends of February. So there you go. Then Monster Girl Doctor Volume 2, which continues to be interesting. It definitely changes its vibe a little bit, so it does focus more on the lore and the development of characters and relationships more than it does on just the ecchi stuff, which I think is a great situation, because the first volume was really unsure about what it wanted to do, just be full ecchi or actually have a world building situation. And I think the author managed to get both of those things in the series without dropping the quality of the lore, which is mostly the most interesting aspect. And the way he did this is by tying in the lore into the Monster Girls, which then ties into the ecchi. So I think everything is interconnected really well, and it makes sense, and it makes it really easy to read and really enjoyable to see all of these Monster Girls and all of the lore that develops around them. So I like that quite a bit. Also, the fan servicey bits are really, really good as well. So yeah, then I read Monster Girl Doctor 3, Volume 3, yeah, which again continues that and is really, really good. In this one, we deal with a dragon girl, a spider girl, a cyclops girl, and there's someone else, but I can't remember. But really good stuff. I really like it. I think Monster Girl Doctor is really, really good. So I definitely want to check out more stuff in this genre of Monster Girls that is related to the authors that this author is inspired by and that talks to. So yeah, we'll get around to reading more Monster Girl stuff here soon. There you go. And then the last thing that I'm still reading is Tanya the Evil, or Saga of Tanya the Evil. This is the beginning of the story. I've only read the first 20-something pages, and I'm starting this, and I'm really excited to get into it. I really like the style of it. It's really interesting because it feels very philosophical compared to a lot of light novels, but also philosophical just so that they can set up this horrible character and why they would be punished by becoming a little girl. So I think that's pretty interesting. I'm really excited to read more of it. And that's basically it. There's only one or two other things that were on my TBR this month that I had decided I wanted to read, which were JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2. I'm only 15 chapters into that. And the other thing is finishing Perry Roden. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, so I'm just going to pass them over to next month and see if I can finish them next month. If not, it doesn't matter. I'll just continue to push them on until another month, right? So yeah, there you go. That's Saga of Tanya the Evil. And that's the last book that I'm going to talk about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. Please let me know if you like this new format where I talk about TV shows and comics and manga, or if I should switch the order, or, you know, anything like that. Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Like I said, see you guys later.